Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Field Mcconnell in the house. So please, everybody, if you have a question for Field, there is a picture of he and Denise, the cover of one of his books, on the wall. You guys can write your questions underneath the comment section there, or if you want to raise your hand and ask Field a question, you feel free to do that, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Also, to everybody, as I always say, be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting into your mind. A lot of crazy stuff going on out there. Also, pay attention to the people that are trying to pick up the mic. That Charlie Kirk had left because I think we're going to start seeing some very questionable things with some people trying to come to the rise in that. And then we're already seeing it with this youngster. I can't remember his name, but if any of you here in the show knows who it is, you can put it on the wall. I was just looking at it earlier this morning. But just be careful, everybody. You have a lot of those flip floppers and the people that were pushing a lot of stuff that they thought they believed in, and now all of a sudden they don't. And I don't know. It's crazy out there. So I used to say 3 to 5 people, everybody, that haven't led you wrong. Now I'm going to say revet your people. If it's 1 to 3 people, then you're still doing good. But if you're really confused on who to follow in general, follow Donald Trump. If you want to follow just one person, go follow Donald Trump, because that's really who we need to be paying attention to. Also, of course, our Lord and Savior. So he this is his plan. He's already won this war. So eyes on God for sure, everybody. But please be careful, because there's a lot of scams, a lot of fraudsters out there, a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and it's wild. It is wild. And I'll continue to listen to this stuff for you guys so I can bring it to you. But it's crazy. I mean, we have Netanyahu coming out basically admitting that they've infiltrated the social media platforms, that they need to get in touch with their influencers to basically continue to spread that misinformation, disinformation, hate. So we know it's here, everybody. Well, we know X is a battleground. TikTok is a big battleground. They're watching people. They're watching all of us, but they're really paying attention to certain individuals that are really out there spewing a lot of stuff. So just be careful, everybody. Also, too, we are being listened to in over 100 countries. We are making a lot of great positive noise. So please follow us on the podcast host or any of the social medias, because I do post the shows on all of them. And especially for those of you that are having trouble over there on Rumble, sometimes listening to the podcast, go listen to the podcast on any other of these locations I'm about to read off. Go follow my YouTube page, whatever it may be. And then that way, if you can't hear it over there in Rumble, you can go to these other places. So the podcast hosts are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, PocketCast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Jareed Facebook, at Jenny_Jareed X, at JJareed Rumble, at JJareed True Social, at JJareed Instagram, the Revival of America right here on Telegram, the Revival of America on YouTube, and then I'm over on TikTok, but I'm just kind of, that's whatever for me over there, guys. If I make it over there and do a video or whatever, I'll do it. But it's just it's not at the top of my list. Let's just say that. Also, two people, check out the website, therevivalofamerica.com. Sign up for the newsletter. It is free. You'll get the weekly updates on the show lineups, as well as the updates on all the podcasts that are new that come out. And that is therevivalofamerica.com. Field has a page on there over there if you're interested in his books. He has made them available to the public. And I'm telling you, everybody, not only is Field Mcconnell a national treasure, so are these books. So if you haven't gotten your individual book or set of books, I highly encourage all of you to do it, because he has decided to mass produce them for the public to purchase. So if you want to have a set of his books or just one individual book of his, please email me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. Send me your address. Let me know what you're looking for the set or an individual. And I typically send those out on Friday if I get any orders on Fridays. So check those out, everybody. I'm sure you're going to love them like I do. And for those of you that have received them, I'm super glad. Thank you for the testimonials. And for Field, thank you for writing those for us, because so many people are very, very excited and happy to have been able to get their hands on your books, as well as be able to read them. I think you're really educating a lot of people, not only here on the podcast, but through your books as well. Also, too, if you have a personal question or you're looking to get in touch with one of my guests, John Baxter, Rick Anson, Carrie Cassidy, whoever it is, a message for Derek Johnson, whatever it is, please email me at that email as well, the revival of America at yahoo.com. That is my personal email. I do respond to you mainly there. So send me your emails there. And for those of you that have a story or a journey to tell, please submit your stories to TROA submissions at yahoo.com. Give me a little synopsis of your story, your journey. We will read through them. We will vet them if we believe it's a real story, because unfortunately we have those yahoos out there that like to make up fake stories and try to be relevant. We will reach out to you via email and get you scheduled for the show so you can tell your story. Also, to everybody, I want to let you guys, oh, and that is the TROA submissions at yahoo.com. Again, TROA submissions at yahoo.com. And I want to say to you guys real quickly, we are starting to see, I believe, COVID 2.0, not in the sense of another virus or a pandemic, right? Just the narratives, the fear mongering. So please, when I say stay out of the noise, stay out of the noise. There is a lot of fear mongering going on out there about this digital ID. They're going to try to make it mandated here in the States. They're already trying to do it in China. Be careful. I posted something on the wall. Just pay attention to that stuff. Don't get into the noise or the fear part of it. Remember, fear not 365 times in the Bible. But I'm just telling you, everybody, it's like Juan and many people are saying right now. It's not Red October. It's going to be Rock October. So I think we're gonna have our worlds rocked a little bit more, everybody, coming into the fall and through next year. Not to be fearful, but just to be mindful and be aware. This isn't for us. It's for the evildoers, and it's for the normies that are still asleep. So pay attention to all of that, but just stay out of the noise, everybody, and stay out of the fear. So with all that information, everybody, Field is in the house. He is going to be speaking on the SES today. So if you guys have any questions for him, please feel free to ask your questions, and we'll go ahead and get started. How are you, Field? Go ahead, Field. Can you hear me? Push the blue button. I see you, Field. I just can't hear you.
How now, brown cow?
There you are. There you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm sort of shy and I'm not sure. I'm not a college boy, but I think they might say reticent. But I want to give you a compliment because in your preamble, you talked or you used the verb relevant, or that's an adjective, come to think of it. But so many of these people that are BSers on the internet are trying to create relevancy where they haven't earned any. And, they're failing and they tend to be rather dishonest. But I love your choice of words, relevant, because I had 4 kids. I still do. None of them have died. They're all just grown up. Um, and I used to tell them, if you want to be relevant, do something relevant. And that's the part that so many of these wannabes or even some other podcasters, they fall into that trap. They they want to have their name held up in honor, and yet they've done nothing honorable. But beyond that, as far as your subject that you suggested we consider today, SES, Senior Executive Service, pardon me, uh, you couldn't have a better person to talk to than me, because my own sister, and I only have one sibling. Well, I'm not sure if she's alive. I think she's been executed. But if she was executed, it would have been for treason. And I used to refer to the Senior Executive Service as Treason Incorporated. And it was treason, and it is treason, because in the stroke of a pen, George H.W. Bush brought the Senior Executive Service into existence and gave them certain instructions. And the instructions, when someone studies them and recognizes what they're doing, they're committing treason. Now, another name for the Senior Executive Service is Obama's private army. And the reason I bring that up, first of all, if you want to find a direct connection between Obama and the senior executive service, look no further than me, because I went to the school that Obama went to in Hawaii, and it's pronounced Punahou, and it's spelled Punah. Oh, I think that's right. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, I went to Punahou. I was 12 years ahead of him. When it comes to faith and knowledge, I'm light years ahead of him. That guy's a complete ding dong, although I think he likes Mike's ding dong. Mike is his husband. Oh, I forgot. We're supposed to say wife. Yeah, okay. I'll say wife. Um, yeah, isn't it? Aren't these guys a comedy that's not funny? I mean, what a bunch of losers. Just because he used to be a male prostitute at Punahou, he'd skip class and go out and turn tricks. And he preferred older white Johns. If anybody can prove that wrong, uh, I'll I'll call the hospital and tell them where to pick up their next mental patient. Um, but I've known about Barry Soetoro. I've got a hearse, a 1996 Cadillac hearse. It's been photographed and it's been around the world, and it's all the aspect of the photograph is always the window where I have a professionally made sign that says Barry Soetoro, Soetoro, Punahou 79. And I graduated from Punahou in 67, and I went off to the Naval Academy and started a 26-year military career. And what's his name? Barry Boy. He went from being a male prostitute at Punahou School to being the husband of a first lady who was not a lady at all, because the first lady, Michael LaVaughn Robinson, had a kickstand. And the reason I said kickstand is I don't want to sound like I'm being judgmental and say penis, but take it either way you want to take it. The Obama party of two is a complete fiction, and their alleged two daughters have no common DNA with either one of them. And so, just like the SES, which is Obama's private army, now exposed and crumbling, uh, Obama doesn't exist. His name is Barry Soetoro. He was born at Peace Arch Hospital in a city up north of Vancouver in British Columbia. And so not only is Obama a false creation, so is the senior executive service. But I'm going to slow down and try not to misspeak and identify what the senior executive service is and why many of them, all of the leadership, should be charged with treason. In 1978, George H.W. Bush asked my own sister, Christine Marcy, Marcy, and the Christine is with a K. Bush, the elder, asked my sister to create the senior executive service. And the purpose was to, overnight, with a stroke of a pen, put leadership and responsibilities ahead of every bureaucracy in America. And that includes all branches of the U.S. military. And I'm sort of old fashioned, and I'm sort of a loyal American citizen. And I'm not going to say patriot, but others do. And so that's a compliment. I took 4 oaths to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And 3 of those oaths are publicly known. My oath to the Navy when I entered Annapolis on the 28th of June of 1967, my pledge of allegiance to the United States Marine Corps when I graduated from Annapolis and entered the Marine Corps on the 9th of June of 71. And on the 5th of July of 1977, I had just exited the Marine Corps and I've signed into the United States Air Force as a member of the North Dakota Air National Guard, where I flew NORAD fighters for 16 years. And the reason I say NORAD fighters, is because I think you had a question or a statement about NORAD, but the North American Air Defense System, that's what I used to do. I flew F-4 Phantoms and F-16s. And now, as one of my end-of-life projects, I intend to ensure that the senior executive service is dismantled and that many of their responsible parties are charged with treason, like my sister was. And I think both Clintons, and I'm leaving the youngest Clinton out of this because she's not a Clinton. She's a Hubble because her biological donor, because Bill Clinton has Peyronie's disease. Look it up, but let me make it easy. It's spelled Peyronie's, Peyronie's disease. When a male human wishes to impregnate a female human, they insert a certain item into a certain receptacle. Well, in Bill Clinton's case, he couldn't do that because he's got Peyronie's disease. And so that little girl named Chelsea, who apparently has a girlfriend, which means she's a lesbian, just like her mother, Hillary. Well, the truth is the truth. And people, even as powerful as the Clintons used to be, and they've been stripped of their power. And I'd like to think I contributed to that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know I've tried. The senior executive service is also called Obama's private army. Well, Obama's a traitor, and he will be charged, and he will be executed. And if you haven't heard that or believed that before, you can believe it now. But it's been my interesting experience to be stuck in the middle of Punahou treason in Obama and my own sister with the SES. I mean, I'm a creative writer, but when you talk about my books, Jenny, you're always very gracious. But the challenge to anybody that wants to read any of my books is to try to figure out when I'm telling the truth or when I'm, sort of being creative. I am a creative writer, but I'm also a truth teller. And it's my great pleasure and maybe even my obligation to tell the truth about Obama, my sister, the senior executive service. And unless Punahou wants to stand up and tell the truth, then I'll expose them too. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. And the reason I kind of thought SES would be a good topic to touch on is because we're seeing it come to the forefront here we've seen it off and on through the course of our journey here, but we're seeing it come to the forefront a little bit more. So can you maybe kind of for the audience, for those that don't know about the SES and how that's gonna eventually turn over to NORAD, right? Or it's gonna be done, and then NORAD's gonna take over. Am I saying that correctly?
Well, you're saying it correctly. I don't know if it's true. I mean, the first I heard of that was from you this morning. Uh, but if NORAD were to take over SES, I believe it would be only to dismantle SES because, as I mentioned 7 or 8 minutes ago, SES should have been called Treason Incorporated because that's what they were commissioned to do by George H.W. Bush. Notice I didn't say anything about George H.W. Bush being a German or a Nazi, but he was. Uh, and that's treason too. And the reason why all these powerful entities have tried to dismantle the United States of America, because the United States of America has been for a long, long time the most powerful nation on earth. And some people, it's like men in a locker room. They look at each other's crank and then they judge their worthiness based on a physical feature. Uh, my own urologist refers to me as Shorty. That doesn't mean I'm not capable. It doesn't mean I'm not um, interesting. I'm sort of interesting because some of these people I expose say to themselves, talking to themselves, not me talking to your audience. How the fuck did he find out? Oh, well, FAFO. And that's what Donald Trump says. It's an acronym. And so these are Donald Trump's words, not mine. Fuck around and find out. And if some of these people I expose, if they don't know where I get the information, they should read Ephesians 5:11. And in that book in the New Testament, it says, have nothing to do with the uh, evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And that's what I do. So I'm an exposure artist. And do I have much to expose? Well, according to my urologist, no, he calls me Shorty, which I would be offended by if I didn't have a great sense of humor. But, I can always use the magnification feature on my cell phone to make myself feel more worthy. But in the meantime, the senior executive service, if it's absorbed into NORAD, it's just to bury the senior executive service, and they're going down anyway. And I think they must know it. But when you tell me, Jenny, and you were the first one to tell me that there was a connection between NORAD and SES, Senior Executive Service, it really piqued my interest. Peaked is spelled Pickued, I think. But, I'm not a college boy. So my vocabulary is rather lackluster. But the Senior Executive Service is on their way out for what they've done since 1979. And when you add 21 to 25, you get 46 years ago, they've been trying to fuck up America. And as a patriot and a 26-year military guy, I'm going to make them go away. Do you think that's a idle boast, Jenny, or do you think it's possible that I could be onto something?
I think you could be onto something, and yes, you're correct. The SES and NORAD would be of the dismantling of the SES, is what I have researched and been told. So I was just curious, since you know a lot about the SES, if you knew the ties to each other.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And by the way, I'm being totally honest. And more importantly than being honest is I'm being very respectful that you have that knowledge and you got it before I had it. Um, I used to think up until about 3 hours ago that I was the common link between the SES and Obama. And now I'm thinking I am. I mean, I'm continuing to think I am, but I'm even more confident in that because when you tell me that NORAD's going to take over SES, congratulations, NORAD. Congratulations, President Trump. And, you know, in the local level, congratulations to JENNI. Um, I'm amazed by your knowledge often, and I'm very much encouraged by your patriotism and also your faith. And if anybody thinks there's no connection between faith and patriotism, then you need more faith because that is the connection. That's how this nation of ours, the United States of America, it was founded on Christian values. And even though in the last 40 years, Christianity has become under attack or disrespected in America, it's coming back. And when it comes back, and it is coming back, nothing will stop it. Because if you know anything at all about spirituality or faith, it's all founded upon God. God created the world. God has blessed America. In fact, there's a song, God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her. I don't have a good singing voice. I wish I did. And if I did, I'd sing a 1982 song by Marty Robbins. That was the last song he recorded before he died. And it's called, now I've painted myself into a corner. What is it called? Uh, some memories just won't die. Some feelings just won't leave. Oh, no matter how hard you try. I wish I could sing, but I can't. But I can recall things in my own personal history. I can recall that my sister, Christine Marcy, was a traitor. She started the senior executive service, and she was also a global child trafficker working in concert with Hillary Clinton. How's that for a six-pack of indictments, Jenny?
Let's go.
Yeah, no kidding. The truth is the truth. And, you know, there's a lot of podcasters. I don't know much about it because I don't listen to any of them, but I listen to you and I respect you. And I think that your future is quite bright. I hope so. Uh, I'll do everything I can do to make sure it's quite bright. But you're willing to put on people like me, and some people would be afraid to participate with me because they think that maybe I point out too much accurate indictments verbally, but somebody's got to do it. This is God's country, and God wants to reveal himself around the world, and I think he's doing it right now. What do you think about that, Jenny?
I couldn't agree with you more, Field. Absolutely. We are seeing God's hand in real time for sure.
Yes, and it's very encouraging to me, and it makes me cry only for one reason. First of all, the main reason why I should be crying when I speak the name of God is because of my faith and the fact that he's real. But the reason it causes me to sound like I'm sad, I just wish my wife Denise could be here to see this. And, you know, she was 16 years younger than me. She'd never been married until she was 49 years old when she got married for the first time. And I was the only one that's ever been married to her. And now she's gone. And I don't want to sound weak, but I miss her every single day. Over to you, Jenny, before I get into a pity party.
Thank you, Field. You want to go into some questions now, or did you still want to touch on? I mean, everybody here may have some questions for you regarding the SES. So, do you want to go into questions, or do you want to add to any of your topic?
No, I think going to questions is what makes us sort of, when I say us, I'm talking about Jenny and Field. I think what makes us pretty lethal is the fact that we don't come in with a narrative. We provide a platform for people to ask me a question if they think that I might have the answer to their question. So, yes, let's put that statement to a test and go to questions and answers.
All right, let's do it. Yes, everybody, because it's about your voices too. So if you guys have questions for Field, please feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic. Or if you cannot speak, you can write your question underneath the comment section over here on the wall underneath Field's book with Denise right there. So go ahead, Cal. Your mic is unmuted.
Hello. This is my Monday adventure with you, Field and Jenny, because you sure teach us the truth. What I'd like to ask you today, Field, do you have any knowledge or any information that you can share with us on the Amelia Earhart situation? Because Trump has been talking about it the last few days.
Yes, and I think that what Trump has said, and I hope I'm not misquoting him, but I'm not doing it intentionally, is that they're going to declassify every document the United States federal government, and I'm talking about the United States constitutional republic. They're going to reveal what the government has known all along about Amelia Earhart's apparent death. And when I say apparent, I have no doubt she's deceased, simply based on age, if nothing else. But Donald Trump's going to declassify a lot of things. And when, not if, there's no if about this statement coming, but when Donald Trump declassifies 9/11, I would love to get a phone call from one of the White Hats inviting me to sing like a bird. I knew more about 9/11 on 9/11 than any, well, that's rather boastful, but I think it's also accurate. I think I know more about 9/11 than the government of the United States of America does. And I exposed what I knew about 9/11 on the morning of 9/11 at around noon. And, the aircraft that hit 3 buildings, supposedly, and one aircraft certainly hit the Pentagon, but it was not a airliner. And the reason I know this is because the captain of American 77 was a 1971 graduate of the Naval Academy with me, and his name that I speak in reverence is Francis Chick Burlingame. And if anybody within the sound of my voice, which was a great song by Glenn Campbell, and it was written by a fellow from Oklahoma that was the son of a Baptist pastor, and it goes like this: if you're still within the sound of my voice, know you were the only one. There was never a second choice. That makes me cry because that defines my relationship to my wife, Denise. But back to this question of yours. The flying vehicle, I said flying vehicle, I didn't say aircraft, I didn't say airliner, I didn't say American 77, I didn't say my college classmate, Chick Burlingame. It was not an airliner, and it was an aircraft, but it was a Raytheon Corporation. And just to make some of the people at Raytheon squirm, I'll spell their name, Raytheon. Raytheon Corporation, on the morning of 9/11, had the largest fleet of obsolescent Douglas A-3 Skywarriors, and a traitor that was executed with 2 shots to the left temple named John McCain, who is the son of of, well, his father was also a traitor in the Navy, four-star admiral. So was his grandfather. His grandfather was a traitor in the Navy and a four-star admiral. And these people, and notice I didn't say these fuckers, which is what they are, uh, they think they're not going to be held accountable. Oh, what about John McCain, the guy that was shot in the head 2 times? He was held accountable for treason against America right about the same time as George H.W. Bush, the German Nazi, was executed for treason against the United States of America. And if you want to know the connection between those two people, it might be that I'm the connection because I exposed both of them to the white hats in Trump's military during his first administration. And, I'm just some other old geriatric, which is being redundant, of course. And now I'm talking like a college boy because I know what redundant means. Some Americans don't. And they're scratching their head or their ass right now wondering, what does redundant mean? Well, Google it, you doorknobs. You all got cell phones. The cell phones connect to the internet. You can get to Google and you can look up what redundant means. But it basically means over and over. But anyway, that wasn't your question. So Jenny, do you think I even came close to touching on any element of her question?
Well, why don't we ask Cal that question? Go ahead, Cal. I don't think so, but go ahead.
Well, I'm sure you're probably not at liberty to say right now, but it sounds like to me you're familiar with what happened there. And I hope, like everything else, we're going to hear the truth. And I'm with you. I hope you get a knock on your door for those white hats and the whole world gets to see you stand up and tell your story.
Thank you.
And
So,
thank you for that statement of faith, faith in me, not faith in God, but put your faith in God and everything else will work out. But you're making me cry, Cal, for being so respectful of what I've been doing for a long, long time, at least 24 years, if not more. But the only reason I can speak with authority and with honesty on these subjects is because God, after I turned my life over to Him, God has taken me by the hand and led me down a very perilous pathway, which is underscored by the fact on the 4th of November of 2019, I was arrested and unlawfully and no due process in the arrest. But what's a greater crime that was, it was my opportunity to be the victim of another felony was when the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, and the governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, denied me my constitutional rights. They denied me due process, and they put me into lockdown first in Pierce County, and the city is Ellsworth, 17 miles west of where I'm talking to you from right now. But the truth is the truth, and the truth never fades, but it can be suppressed. And in my experience, a lot of truth has been suppressed in the United States of America during my adult life. And I'm not saying that I act like an adult all the time, but you get me in a courtroom and nobody's going to beat me because I stick to the truth. I love the truth. I love God. I love the United States of America. I defend ladies and I defend children. And, nobody's asked me to do that except one entity, and that entity is God. Pardon my cough. And He asked me twice. He asked me in the Old Testament, Psalm 94:16, look it up. And he asked me in the New Testament, Ephesians 5:11 have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And so I guess I'm going to proudly say that I'm attempting to be an exposure artist. And Jenny, once again, I still don't know if I answered her question or
Well,
came close.
I'm
But
gonna
go
help
ahead.
you here I'm gonna help you real quick here, Field. So she was asking regarding Trump. Donald Trump has been speaking a lot about Amelia Earhart here recently, and I even saw a post that said that she is gonna blow everything up in the sense of, maybe, I don't know, some information, I don't know, something that maybe ties to her. Do you know anything about what he is talking about when he brings that up?
No, I don't. And I don't like to offer opinions. If I don't know the facts, then I keep my mouth shut generally. Now, there's a lot of people in the United States government, including most of the last Congress, and that includes the Senate, that are not loyal to America, but I am. And what the question I have about Amelia Earhart's death is, what did she happen to see flying over the Pacific that relates to the Japanese military and maybe some of their bases on small islands? Because legend has it that she and her navigator, who was a male, and I forgot his name because I'm not a human encyclopedia. I get tired too. Uh, but she and her navigator disappeared allegedly, uh, very close to a small island in the Pacific. And what a remarkable life Amelia Earhart lived. And here's something that I don't think, and in fact, is our lady guest, is her name Cal?
Yeah, real quickly though, Field, before you go on to that, you were saying allegedly. Did you know what allegedly maybe she saw when she flew over?
Well, some military developments that would be critical to the survival of American servicemen that might be on surface vessels in the Pacific Ocean. That's what I think she may have seen, but that sounds like an opinion, so I'll strike my own comment and say, no, I don't know at all. But we're going to find out, because, Trump and his acronym, FAFO, I love that acronym. If I didn't have such good manners, I'd say that it stands for fuck around and find out. Oh, I slipped. Uh, we're all going to find out. We're going to find out the truth, because Trump and the truth both start with TRU, and they both have 5 letters. And maybe that's God's way to signal us that Trump is a servant of God, as are some, but an insufficient number of people in the United States. But I think that there are certain entities or certain individuals that can encourage other people to stand up for God, stand up for Trump, stand up for ladies, and take care of children. Um, and so I know that I sometimes am difficult to understand, but the problem is, or the issue is, the truth is difficult to understand because the truth has been suppressed by the mainstream media, by all the administrations of the United States of America Corporation. But we're not the United States of America Corporation anymore. We are the constitutional republic of the United States of America. And I think, as the constitutional republic, we're going to cause a lot of truth to be revealed around the globe in deference to all the global population, regardless of what color their skin is, regardless of what language they speak, regardless of their financial power, regardless of their lifestyle. And once again, I got to go back to Cal and Jenny and say, have I scratched the surface on what she asked me?
Go ahead, Cal. Has he? And then we'll go to Derek. Go ahead, Cal.
Yes, I sort of, I hear what you're saying, what you're not saying. So you piqued my interest, but we'll just wait for Donald Trump to bring out the truth. I sure hope it's pretty soon. It's been a long wait for all of us. And thank you so much.
Yes, and keep in mind one thing. In fact, it might not be on your mind yet. I'll ask you a question, and then if you can't answer it, Jenny can. Do you have any idea what day my birthday is?
It's October, is it 1st or 2nd? I could be wrong.
Oh, you're not wrong. It's because what you said, it's either October 1st or 2nd, and it is October 2nd. And October 2nd this year is between October 1st, when I think Donald Trump will have either hinted at what he's about to reveal, or maybe he will already have revealed it. But October 3rd, there's something scheduled that will make for a very happy birthday for me. And I know I look like a 18-year-old high school senior, but I'm actually going to turn 76 next Thursday. And I think, it's just a wonderful conflict that God himself and Trump have made, because it puts my birthday in between two very important days in the history of the United States of America, which the United States of America, to which I took 4 oaths to protect the people and the Constitution of America. And when I take an oath, I don't vacate my oath, and I don't fail to serve in my capacity as an oath keeper. And if anybody wants to kill me, work it out with God. You might have to run it by Trump. But I had 5 death threats when I was arrested on the 4th of November of 2019. And as most people can tell, I'm alive, I'm still kicking, and I'm still having the asses of as many traitors as I can identify, one of which was my only sibling. So that's a level of commitment that's probably a little bit higher than the levels of commitment of most of our congressmen or senators prior to the first Trump administration. So thank you for your kind words, Cal, and I love your questions. They're stimulating to me. And let me share that compliment with Jenny. Jenny, the reason I like to go to questions and answers rather than speak off the top of my head is because that's how I learn too. Sometimes a very good question is quite a learning tool for me, because it causes me not only to think about the question, but then to research it. And so I'll say thank you, Cal. Thank you, Jenny. And I'll put a sock in my mouth so I can't speak.
Thank you, Field. Thank you, Cal. All right, everybody, if you have questions for Field, please feel free to raise your hands or put your comment in the comment area underneath his books with Denise hanging in the picture. But Derek French, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
I got one statement. I listened to Field, and I don't want to make him cry because I hate it when he cries, but
I do too.
Yeah, how much he loved his wife and loves his wife. But I want to tell him his wife loves him equally or more now, right now. And she's smiling down on him. I read an article, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, that Christine Marcy did found SES, and that she turned herself into her brother, which would be her only sibling, Phil Mcconnell. Is that a true story or no? And I'll hush.
No, and you did make me cry, but I've recovered sort of. But how do you recover from losing a wife that was so pure, and that's a strange word to use for a wife, uh, because pure sometimes to some people would indicate uh, non-sexual. That was very far from the truth. But no, my sister did not turn herself into me. How could she? I have no authority. Uh, I don't have any power, but I do have the power of the Lord behind me. And when I say something, people can either believe it or not believe it. But the people that are believers, believing in the power of God, they have pretty good confidence in what I have to say. No, I was not the recipient of a uh, guilty plea from my sister, but I am the one that made my sister's name on the top 10 list of not, that's an exaggeration. That's not the truth. But no, I put her name out there in the headlights, and the white hats in the Trump administration have gained confidence in what I say. And I would like to say, thanks to the white hats, that's probably why I'm still alive, because when I was arrested on the 4th of November of 2019, their intention was to charge me, prove me guilty, and then, you know, allow an accident to end my life. Well, even though I'm a Christian, and I am, and that's why I have the nerve to do what I do, because who's going to do it if I don't? I haven't seen anybody else as active and vocal and in your face as I've been on some very difficult and profound issues. For instance, 9/11, MH370, MH17, the senior executive service. And, you know, it's not only am I unafraid of anybody, you know, it's not that I'm unafraid, it's that I fear the Lord, and I fear what the Lord would do to me or allow others to do to me if I fell short of what the Lord, and let me be specific, Jesus Christ, my Savior, he expects a certain level of performance out of me in exchange for the many blessings he's already given me. And Derek, uh, the greatest, I think, other than life itself, I think the greatest blessing God ever gave me was the lady you just referred to, Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell. And so I hope I shed some light on your question. But if I didn't answer it, or if you didn't ask a question, Derek, would you let me know? Oh, yes, I remember your question now. Did my sister turn herself into me? She probably liked to turn herself into me because I'm on the right side of all these issues and she's on the wrong side. She was a traitor and a global child trafficker. End of statement. Over to you, Jenny, or Derek, or both.
Yeah, I get it. The love between a man and a woman, uh, and I state that, I don't want to mess anybody up, but the love between a man and a woman, and that's what it should be, not between a man and a man or a woman and a woman, in my opinion. That's my opinion, Jenny. Don't get mad at me. But to hear you talk about Denise, I just want to let you know that Denise is in heaven talking about you the same way you talk about her, because I guarantee you she loves you immensely. We all do. And I cannot imagine losing my wife, period. And I can't imagine being incarcerated and forced to be locked up in the situation you were with your wife. It pisses me off as an American, a soldier, in many aspects my oath, and we took an oath and we took the same oath that Congress and Senate and everybody else takes, and it seems like there's very few of us that honor that oath. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm stimulated by your logic, and I thank you for your participation. And I took an oath to protect the citizens and the Constitution of the United States of America. And if anybody wants to remove me from my service to the oath, I got 2 words for them: get fucked. I'm not going to crump. No, that's just the way it is. And I've had people, yeah, that's the way it is. If you want to get me to shut up, well, shut me up. And if you don't have the balls to kill me, go to the back of the room and be quiet for the rest of the show. But anyway, Derek, I appreciate your comments about Denise and love. And it does make me cry. But I'm not going to cry now because Jenny will throw me off the show if I start crying again.
That's not true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. All right, everybody, if you guys have questions for Fields, please feel free to raise your hands. He's here for you guys to ask any questions to. But I don't have any questions here, Fields, so I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts about Trump calling up these military generals here to the White House the last a couple of days ago?
Actually, he called them to a meeting, but it's not at the White House. It's at Quantico, Virginia, which
I
is,
apologize. Yes, Virginia, my bad.
yeah, Quantico, Virginia, but it's not your bad. I mean, you're not a machine. You're a loving and loyal human, and I respect you. He called all the generals and the admirals, which would be the heads of certain commands in all 4 military branches. I got to count them again: Army, Navy, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. That's the 4. Coast Guard is often thought of as a military branch, but they were born out of the Treasury Department, I believe, and I'm not an expert on that. So I guess I just expressed an opinion. But all of those military guys being called to Quantico, I just read an article yesterday saying, is it because of some upcoming military action, or is it a purge of useless leaders?
I think it's
I
both.
don't. Well, thank you. You answered my question for me. I think you're right. And I think it puts foreign nations that might not like the United States of America and might not know that we can make them turn into a vast sand dune. And that goes back to fuck around and find out. You know, the United States military is quite impressive. The caveat to that is the American military is only as powerful as its leadership is gutsy to do the right thing, not just to be like John Wayne and go into a bar room and kick everybody's ass with a whiskey bottle in his left hand. No, I think, well, I'm not going to say what I think. What I know is the United States military during my term of service, which was from the 28th of June of 1967 to this very moment. The United States military has been weakened by some weak leaders. And I don't need to name those names. Notice I didn't say anything about a person named Dempsey. Oh, maybe I did. If I did, I'd like to retract that. I've made my statements in those books that you mentioned very respectfully, Jenny. Thank you. Those 4 books I've written, and I will name some more names in the 5th book, which I'm just struggling to get started to, because it's going to be my most heartfelt and my most significant writing experience of my life, because it is called War Bride POW. War Bride is in reference to Denise, because she married me knowing, because I told her before I asked her to marry me, I said, if you marry me, you're going in harm's way, because you could change from being a newlywed bride into being a recent widow within a week, because I have some powerful enemies. Well, my powerful enemies, maybe they need some Viagra, because they haven't got me yet. And if they can get me, I'll say, well done. And then when I get to heaven, God will say, well done. And it's quite simple when you put it into that thought process. What is life for? I think life is to be enjoyed by the person that has life, and to be relevant to expressing your faith in God and your thanks to God for the many blessings He's given to all of us. Some of us haven't figured out yet why they're so fortunate, but I figured it out. And the greatest gift God gave me was Denise Irene Clark. And because Derek told me she's listening to me and smiling, I'm going to spell her name so everybody knows her genes were from North Ireland, not from England. But the Irish spelling of Clark is Clarke. And the English, they don't have the E on the name, on the end of their name. And that reminds me of something I learned at the Naval Academy. When a U.S. Navy vessel has an E visible on its upper, what is that called? I forgot, I'm tired. A Navy vessel that has a big E, and that's not in reference to the Enterprise, it's in reference to you've done some exceptional service to the military and or the United States of America. And if anybody wants to fill in my blank mind, if you just Google E award U.S. Navy, something will come up, and I'll Google it when this show is over. And if I misspoke right now, I'll retract my statement right after the show is over. But if all of us in America, and I'm going to say all of us in North America, because the only thing that separates the United States of America from Canada is falsehoods and malfeasance. Pretty big word, right, Jenny? Malfeasance by the royals over in the United Kingdom, who, after they caused a lot of their best and brightest to take a runner and go to North America, they probably very soon thereafter had the scary thought that, what did we just do? Because we just lost the best and brightest gene pool. And if they can commingle into one nation, we will never be able to defeat them. Well, guess what, fuckface? Here we are, Canada and the United States of America, separated by nothing more than a big lie. And it's called the 49th parallel. I have Canadian friends. I've served in NORAD with Canadian fighter pilots, and I'm glad that we were allies, because I would not want to go against a Canadian fighter pilot in a hostile way, because I don't know for sure that I could think of a way to defeat them, because they're tenacious. And I think the Canadians and the Americans are equally tenacious. So it's a 50-50 chance that if we opposed each other, either one of us could be the victim of the other one of us. I don't know how I got on this subject at all. But Jenny,
Real,
why don't you rescue? Go ahead. Go ahead,
no, no,
Jenny.
no, you're good. No, I was just going to add my 2 cents into the question about the generals going into Quantico, Virginia. I misspoke there, so I apologize. Quantico, Virginia, everybody. My thought process is I have been asked this. I do think it could be a little bit of both
Yes.
you know, a purging as well as briefing on some things, because we know we're coming into some big things, right? So I do believe that he could be doing a purge for those treasonous generals that have, you know, he can say, okay, well, you were brought in by such and such administration, or you didn't go by the Constitution. So I do believe it could be a purge, as well as once that purge is done, a briefing on what is to come, because you know, everybody, we're here. This is the fall of the cabal, right? So yeah, I think my opinion, I think that that could be a big thing of what it could be for sure.
I think you're very lucid, and I agree with you. And just while you were speaking, and I was learning from your speaking, the reason why it would make sense to purge and get rid of the dead wood, you know, around my birthday would be if we're going to get into a real shooting war someplace, we must be confident that we will prevail. And if you've got some weak leaders, I'm trying to keep myself from using colorful talk. Colorful talk is useful to encourage good people, but it's offensive to other good people. So, yeah, if you want to go into something significant of a military operation, I think it's very prudent to get rid of your weak leaders before you fire the first round. So I'll agree with you, Jenny, and this is a good example of why I like to go to Q&A,
All right.
because I learn more than. Go ahead.
No, yeah, no, you're good. We've got a couple questions here for you. If you want to take them.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see. We have Best Press. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Field. I had a couple questions for you. First, I had a statement in regards to your books. Your books are fabulous. Thank you for those. But my first question, go ahead, Field.
Well, yeah, I want to, my first question, and it's to Jenny, but Jenny, what is this lady's name? I didn't catch it. Starts with a B, doesn't it?
Well, she goes by Best Press here. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well then continue with your question, young lady, because I learn more from the questions than I teach. And so that's how I learn stuff. When intelligent people have a curiosity about something and they ask me, it puts me on notice. I better find out before the next show, because they might ask again. So go ahead with your question, young lady.
My question is, I know that the med beds are coming, and I do believe in the med beds, and I've been on Jenny's show this whole time and followed you. But what do you think Donald Trump's, and he is our president, our commander in chief, I'm completely true to my heart to that. But what do you think his message was by putting that up on Truth Social in regards to the med beds coming, and everybody went haywire on social media? I believe they're coming and I know they're here, but then he took it down, and I'm not kidding you, all over social media was, oh, this is AI. I don't know, that's not AI. Donald Trump wouldn't mess with our hope and our health like that. I don't believe that at all. But what do you believe his message was?
Real quickly, I'm going to address this because if you look at that video, and I know many people say it's not, but if you look at that video and you look at the mouths, I don't know if Field's seen this or not, but I'll send it to him. If you look at the mouths, they do not connect with the voices. So of course that's going to lead people to believe that that's AI. So we do know that Field, sorry, that Donald Trump has talked on the med beds. He has been seen. There's been, I think, videos, I don't know, from Fox News. And he's even mentioned at some of his rallies that hospitals will be no longer. We may not need them, or whatever the verbiage was, right? But I'm going to speak on that. I do believe that it just it screams AI. Okay, but I do believe that maybe he is bringing that to our attentions to prepare us. Like, we've been in this mental boot camp, right? I call this a mental boot camp because that's what it is. It's a psychological war to prepare us for what's to come, right? Because if you rip that Band-Aid off right now for people that rely on the medications and the big pharma and, you know, the medical world, you rip that Band-Aid off, you're going to have chaos, right? So, but then he, within that, he took it off, I think 11 to 12 hours, it was up, and he took it down. And then the next day he posts something else, a video in regards to like alternative healings. So I do believe he is speaking to us. Whatever that all meant, I do believe there is a reason. There's always a reason behind what Trump does. He's brilliant. He doesn't just do things just to do things. But when it comes to that video, everybody needs to go relook at it and study it, because I can understand why people would think it's AI generated, because the mouths do not match with what the verbiage is. So, but if you do go look back in past, Trump has talked about the medbeds. So I do believe that, yes, they are real. How that will all transpire, nobody knows. But Field, go ahead and you speak on it if you know what she's touching on.
Yes, I will. I think Donald Trump is of spectacular wisdom and faith. And if he has to shake somebody's foundation, he can do it. And there's a term I'm going to use right now that I'm not going to speak. I'm just going to refer to it. But when I'm speaking, you know, in my personal life and on many platforms, I've talked about being a TFer. And I'm not going to say the offensive word, but T is truth, Effer, fill in the blanks. Donald
Let her
Trump
rip,
is
potato
the
chip.
trick fucker. You know, he can mind mess, he can dominate intellectually any person of which I'm aware. And I'm a trick fucker too, because, you know, I've had 5 murder threats and yet I'm still alive. And if I get to 76 on my birthday next Thursday, I will find some way to celebrate. And it's in a way that Donald Trump would not celebrate, because Donald Trump is a teetotaler and I'm not. And you know what? A trick fucker is a trick fucker, and don't fuck with a trick fucker or you might get fucked. How's that for a statement, Jenny?
Wow. We went around the world
Well,
on that one. What do you think, Best Press?
Well, that's great. I like to know the truth, honestly. My dad was that way, so you didn't offend me one iota, honestly.
well, thank you. And you know, honor your father. Is he still alive or has he gone to his reward?
No, he died very young. He died at 68. It's only been 7 years.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, honestly. But I know what it's like, because your husband died young and my wife died young. And either way, it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all what plumbing you have, indoor plumbing or outdoor plumbing. The loss of a loved one is something that I haven't been able to, you know, I haven't been able to stop grieving the loss of my wife. And my wife left 5 years ago. And so if you're still grieving your husband from 7 years back, I grieve with you. Okay? Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am.
My next question, if you have a chance to answer this, I don't want to take up the board, but
You're good.
because I know that we are at the fall is in the fall. I'm really truly concerned because I am flying to New York to stay for 5 days in the second week of November. Do you think we're at high risk to get caught in the middle of this? Because I would much rather be home with my batteries and my radio than to be, I'm in California, than to be in New York.
Yeah, I personally have no fear of flying, and I used to get questions on other platforms about if you're so sure that every single airliner has a uninterruptible autopilot, how do you dare fly over to England to see your wife before she is my wife? Uh, I said, because I know how to disable the technology, but I would never say how. And so there's two choices. I either do know how to disable the technology or I just trick fucked a lot of people. But I don't like to be dishonest with people, but I'm not afraid of being dishonest to threaten organizations which are not loyal to people. And I don't know if that sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, but it's not. It's the truth. If by introducing fear into the Department of Transportation, the FAA, and the major airlines, if I scare them, well, that's tough shit. You know, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to expose evil. And if by exposing evil, I can interrupt some evil events. And I think well, let me just say what I know, not what I think. I know that I've exposed about 22 events where an uninterruptible autopilot was probably the cause of the death of innocent people. I don't like that. I have no authority. I have no power. I have the power of the pen, or in this case, the keyboard. But if I can protect a single human life by exposing some of these corruptible technologies, I'll do that over and over and over again because, well, this goes back to Psalm 94:16. And I'm sorry, I can't quote that accurately without opening a Bible or getting my phone out. Oh, wait, my phone is out. I'm speaking on it. But I don't like, and this comes from not only my own background, where I was a pilot for 38 years, but also in honor of my father and my mother. My father was a dominant bomber pilot. Now, that's going to sound strange to people in the military. They're going to think I'm confused. Now, there was an aircraft at the end of World War II called the B-32 Dominator, but in my mind, I think my duty to God and humanity is to dominate the interaction between good and bad. And God has talked in his scriptures about the battle at the end, which is the battle of good versus evil. Well, I'm very happy that I somehow found out that I should be on the good side, because my own sibling, my only sibling, my sister, was on the evil side. And I don't want to besmirch her any further because I think she's deceased. And so, why would you get into a boxing ring with a corpse? You're not going to beat them because well, that's just an analogy. But what do you accomplish by getting into a boxing ring with a corpse? Nothing. Except maybe in your weak mind, you might think you have bragging rights, but I don't. I've been through the ringer, and but the good news is I've gotten through the ringer. I haven't been a victim of a Maytag washing machine. How's that for an analogy?
Thank you, Fields. All right, Best Press. Did that answer your question about flying?
Well,
I don't.
it's not necessarily the flight I'm concerned about. I'm really concerned about being stuck there for the 10 days of darkness. That's what my concern is.
Well,
But
well, that's another thing. I think, and when people refer back to those posts, I reread them a couple times, and it says 10 days and then darkness underneath. It doesn't. They're not together. So I think I just say go for it. Live your life like you're supposed to. Do not cave to the fear, the noise. If you see stuff start coming forward that's getting a little wild, maybe I don't know when are you supposed to leave?
The second week in November. I truly
Yeah.
offered up to God. I have had a lot of challenges in my life, and I have offered them all up to God. But it's
Yeah, I
like
wouldn't.
I
I
just
wouldn't.
said,
I would continue on and go unless,
okay,
they've grounded the flights or whatever they've done. So yeah, I would just continue, go, enjoy your time, and then because we never know. It happens at God's time, right?
amen. It truly does. Thank you again for your show, and Field, thank you again for your books. Have a great day.
Thank you, Best Press. All right, Field, I have two more questions for you. All right, Miss Tanya, go ahead, and then Patty, you can go after Tanya. Go ahead, Tanya.
Oh, thanks, Jenny, and thanks, Phil. I have a question for Phil. Since he's a pilot, is he aware of all the secret space program and all the dump tunnel all around the world?
Did you hear that, Field?
No, her volume was rather weak. Could you summarize her question?
Can you say your question again, Tanya?
I'm sorry, I'm driving, so probably slow. But I'm just want to see, since Phil is a pilot, so I have been studying a lot for the past 5 years about the secret space program from the Navy and the Air Force. So I just want to know if you're aware of it, and also about all the tunnel, the dumps all around United States and all over the world.
Okay, so Field, she wants to know if you know about the secret space program and then the DUMBs all around the world. She's been studying the last 5 years about all this.
Well, she knows more than me, but DUMBs is DUMB, and that stands for Deep Underground Military Bases. And they are all around the world, and they can be used for good, or more commonly, or more often, they're used for evil, which is a big reason why there's a war going on over in the Ukraine, because the Ukraine had, I think they had 14 deep underground military bases where they were abusing children. And this is rather, uh, it's way beyond sinister. But I think that in Ukraine, they were not necessarily waiting for children to die before they would harvest their organs. And I don't even like saying that. I feel like washing my mouth out with Listerine, but I think it's more likely I'll wash it out with something else. But yeah, the deep underground military bases. Yeah, why is it that any country needs to put their secrets underground? If they're doing something good for humanity, it's like this little light of mine, I'm going to make it shine, make it shine, make it shine. And why don't we just learn to love each other, respect each other, and hold accountable the people that harm children or violate another human's opportunity and right to enjoy life for as long as God may give them life? And if God gets me to Thursday of this week, I'm going to be 76. And I hope the first thought in my mind when I wake up on the morning of Thursday, the 2nd of October, I hope I remember to pray to God himself and thank him for the many blessings he's given me. And so I covered the DUMBs, DUMBS. What was the second half of that question, Jenny?
The secret
It's a
space
secret
program.
space program.
Oh, there's two Jennys. Okay. Yeah, the secret
Love
space
it.
a lot of the space stuff is BS, or TF, if you remember what TF stands for. In the case of the moon landing, that was a TF. We never landed on the moon. Not on that day in July, I think it was, of 1969. That moon landing was faked at a U.S. Air Force base in New Mexico. And I think the name of the base was Cannon Air Force Base. And there were two hangars, and a hangar is a big building, usually made of masonry objects. But these two hangars at Cannon Air Force Base, and once again, my mind is not fail-proof. I might have the wrong Air Force Base in New Mexico, but there aren't many. And I think it was Cannon. They had two hangars that were connected, and they had mini semis, meaning a truck and a trailer, dump trucks, dump semis. They hauled a lot of rock and a lot of sand into those hangars, and then they covered it with the dust or the powder or the source of concrete. And they also went to the extraordinary effort of painting all the interior walls black. So when they put the lunar lander on the freshly paved hangar floor, they could fake a video of a lunar landing without the walls reflecting the truth. And so we've been lied to because the space forces of numerous countries, most obviously the USSR and the United States of America, because they were fighting a battle for who's going to dominate space. And the Americans, sadly, cheated. But on the other hand, the Americans gained the victory because the Russians, it appears that the Russian leadership fell for the fake bait, and they thought that America landed on the moon. And I guess that's one of the parts of being a TFer I regret, because the United States of America TF'd Russia, and if Russia believed it, then certainly they would feel like they were technologically insufficient to enter into a military engagement with the United States of America. And I've never been on the front lines. I've never fired a bullet. I've never been shot at. But I was up in Iceland it's called Keflavik Naval Air Station, and it's near the city of Reykjavik. And the mission that I was participating in was preventing or being in a position to prevent or eliminate any Russian bomber that was intercontinental in range, because they're all, it appears from my knowledge, and I'm old, so I could be not up to date, but back then in 1984 or 5, when I was up at Iceland, the nuclear bombers of intercontinental range that Russia possessed, they were stationed along northern Russia. And if they were intending to drop some weapons on any place in North America, they had to go through what's called the Gin Gap, Gin, G-I-N, Greenland, Iceland, Norway. And it's a body of international water, so international rules apply. And if they wanted to come through the Gin Gap, then those of us in military interceptors in Iceland, NAS Keflavik, which is in Reykjavik, we would be scrambled off to intercept them and destroy them over the international waterway between Greenland, Iceland, and Norway. So I guess there's a lot of things about space that are just bold lies when it comes to space secrets. But I understand the people or the military people that believe, or the Congress that believe we need to be secretive with our space program, because that is sort of equivalent to having an upper hand. But nowadays there's no upper hand. The United States of America is the most powerful country in the world, and any other country would be very foolish to attack the United States of America if they didn't have a supporting network of allied nations. So that's my heartfelt opinion. But where I'm resting right now in my house is in a comfortable place. It's the chair I sit in probably 12 hours a day, and I do my thinking, and I do my writing nearby. 6 feet from where I'm resting in my own father's office chair, and it helps me feel a sense of connection to my father, who died in 2008. But I'm certainly not worried about space competition or secrets. I'm very much not worried about flying on the airlines, because I flew for airlines for 31 years. I know how easy it is being a pilot. Some people are overwhelmed with thinking, oh, they must have a lot of responsibility. Yeah, they do. But the airline pilots have very good training, and generally they have very impressive backgrounds. That's how they get selected to be an airline pilot. So I would not worry about the secret space programs, because there's not many secrets anymore. And the bottom line is the United States of America is ahead of every other nation. That's my opinion,
Agreed.
Jenny. How did I do?
You did great. I agree with you. All right, Fields, I have one more question here for you from Patty. So go ahead, Patty. Your mic is unmuted.
Hey, Jenny and Field, and nice to hear you guys. I just wanted to say real quick, the lady that was asking about the AI video on the med beds, I recorded from CNN last night a segment on that. So I posted it on Jenny's wall, and I think it's just soft disclosure. And so they had it out there last night a couple times. So it's on Jenny's wall, and you guys can go and take it and share it out. It's right there.
Thank you, Patty.
Okay, well,
I will. Oh, go ahead, Fields.
No, ladies first. Go ahead, Jenny.
No, I was just letting Patty know. I saw that you messaged it to me, so I will put it on the wall for everybody to check it out.
Okay.
Soft disclosure,
and my
guys.
question, yeah, my question is for Patty. Patty, are you one of the 2 or 3 Patties that I know?
I think so, aren't I? My 92-year-old
know.
Marine.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's one of them. I mean, you are one of them. And say hello to your father for me and thank him for his service. But there's another Patty I know that lives within 400 miles of Chicago, and I haven't heard from her lately. So I'm hoping she's doing okay. But I have both of your emails or your phone numbers, so I can communicate with both Patties. But I just like to know who I'm talking to. But I think Jenny will agree with me that I don't need to know who I'm talking to. If I tell the truth, that's all that matters, because then I don't have to remember every single conversation, because in my mind, every single conversation is heartfelt truth unless I'm obviously being facetious, or maybe I've had too much Kool-Aid. Over to you, Jenny.
One more thing, Jenny, I just want to say, any of you that don't have Fields books, you need to order them and get them for yourself and for gifts. I bought 5 for my grandchildren each to keep them for preservation for historical reasons. So I just wanted to say, Field, they are just amazing, and I'm blessed to own some of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty, for that endorsement. And I hope that Jenny will help me remember to send one of the earliest copies of War Bride POW to you, because that is a book that is going to mean the most to me of all the books I write, because it's going to be autobiographical. You have to finish that statement there, Jenny, but I don't know how to say autobiographical. But it'll
I
be
think you just said it.
Oh, I did.
Autobiography.
Yeah, no. War Bride POW. War Bride alludes to Denise, and POW alludes to me. But I've never been a prisoner of war like my father was for 16 months. But I was a prisoner of Wisconsin, POW, for 6 months. And 16 months, excuse me. And during those 16 months, my health got reduced in 2 ways. I lost 91 pounds and a lot of strength. But more importantly, I lost my balance. I mean, people might say, "Oh, you're kidding, Field. You've always been unbalanced." Yeah, but this type of imbalance is different. I mean, even to this day, sometimes when I stand up too quickly, I sort of have to, move my feet around quickly to keep from falling over. And I have fallen over at least 5 times and injured myself, and I don't want to do that anymore. But as far as being mentally unbalanced, don't bet your ass on it, because I can go into any courtroom anywhere in the world and discuss 9/11 and defeat anybody that exists. And that
Amen.
sounds both. I think I can. I mean, I knew what happened on 9/11 at noon. And I know who did it: George H.W. Bush, John McCain, my own sister, and Hillary Clinton. And I'm not afraid to speak those words. The truth is a safe harbor. And, people that lie, they better cross their fingers and hope they get away with it, because so often they don't.
Amen to that. And everybody here,
Thank you.
for those of you that want to purchase Fields books, like I said, he has made them available for the public. You can get them in a set of 4, or you can buy them one individually if you just want one. So email me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. Let me know if you want the set or the individual, and we'll get you guys taken care of. And with that, everybody, Field is here with us every Monday as our schedules permit. So we'll see you next Monday, Field.
Yes, I'll be here, Jenny.
All right, Field. And I'll talk to you on the backside too. So with that, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being here. And we will see Field here next Monday, same time, same place. And God bless you, Field. Thank you for being here. Once again, always a great show.
Well, thank you. And God has blessed me. And I don't want to repeat myself, but everybody knows what blessing I have that I consider God's greatest gift to me. So I'll say goodbye. God bless you, Jenny, and thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. God bless, Field. It's always a pleasure. Love you. And we'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.